Hi, my name is Mawuli. Welcome to my channel. There's an interesting topic I would want us to delve into, and then we see what we can, which kind of juice we can get out of that topic. So the topic basically is client work isn't your creative voice. So now you ask yourself, what is client work? Client work is basically a project that you have been called by someone or an institution to execute, and most of the time you are remunerated for that. Creative voice, from my experience and from what I know, is basically your kind of aesthetics or the kind of mood that you would want to communicate with through your work to the audience that are sort of like looking or engaging with you through your work. A creative voice is very, very, very important because for the very first reason, it sets you apart. It sets you apart from the lot. Like it makes your work unique and very distinct because it gives you that edge, and people are able to know that, okay, this is how this person treats their skin. This is how this person usually goes for black and white images, or this person usually does edit their videos in slow-mo, or this person is known for aerial photography, and not just any aerial photography, but there's a storyline behind that kind of shot. So basically, you may want to say that creative voice is very, very important. And the question then is, how does one establish his or her creative voice? A creative voice, basically, the spectrum is quite huge, right? So you may want to look at things that can influence your work. I would for sure say that our temperaments even affects our process of work, how we relate to our work, how we talk to clients, all that. Our temperaments in one way or the other influences it. Our upbringing influences it. And then you can look at the aesthetics that people, which is usually the very first. So like the kind of effects used, and then the kind of backgrounds used, the kind of human faces or human models used, the kind of skin color you usually shoot. All these things do inform one's creative voice. So, I was there one time, and someone said, "Oh, it looks like you like to shoot ladies with natural hair." And I was like, "Oh, really?" So then I just went to my page to just, confirm what the person had observed. And then I went and I couldn't agree less. It was quite true. But it was something that sort of like, naturally or intrinsically, I just like natural hair. So subconsciously, it has affected my work. And so if I see, or if I'm scouting for a model, chances are unconsciously I will choose someone who has natural hair because I feel like it's nicer, and I feel like it's worth telling a story. You would have to want to have a creative voice for you to be able to know where and when to sort of carve that voice for yourself. So let's say you're a portrait photographer. Already your temperament is affecting how you're working, whether you like it or not. And so you'd want to say, okay, I would want to delve into images using just canvases as background. And that could be your creative voice. But however, you may have a client work, and the client work may not really like a canvas. A client work may want probably a wall or just about any smooth surface. So in that case, it's no more your creative voice. It has, in one way or the other, influenced by your clients. So that is where I go, like, your client work isn't your creative voice. Another example could be locations where you would want to scout for, work. Let's say if you're the kind of photographer who would love to take your shots with a rural setting, and that happens to be the theme for your work across the years, it then becomes your creative voice. However, you may have a client who has seen your portfolio of you shooting in rural, settings and having that theme, and go like, okay, come and shoot the portraits of my workers. And obviously you're going to do that in the office. And that is in your creative voice. So what happens then after that? After that, the thing is you would have to find time for yourself and then look out for your creative voice and make it happen. It comes with discipline and it comes with a lot of passion. When I talk about passion here, it's not the one that got you starting photography in the first place. I'm talking about passion for wanting a voice. So let's say if you do love grading and you would want grading to be a form or your creative voice, you would have to have the passion to be able to break down grades in every aspect that there is and then use them on your work. And it should be over a very long time. And that is where the passion comes in. Because then if there's no passion, chances are you stop grading after 2 or 3 months, just after grading, because you just heard that you might find your creative voice. So you go like, okay, this one is good for me. What is creative voice? Okay, I find that, okay, when you do this and do that, without any sense of attachment to it, chances are you leave it along the way. Another way one can establish a creative voice is through the lens. It's as basic as it is, through the lens one uses. Some people will opt for telephoto lenses for their portraits, and that, in a way, gives you that creative voice. It should be, like I said, it should be over a period of time for that impact to be felt, for you to immerse us in that volume of work that has been shot with just 50, 1.8 or 1.4 or whatever aperture it is. I remember, in my early days, I shot 50 1.4 USM for 2 years because that was the only lens I had. And so for 2 years, I was just using one basic lens for everything, including group shots. So you can imagine, we have tight spaces in our part of this world. And you can imagine, like you go shooting an outdooring or a christening in a small room, and you just have to manage with that 50 mm. 50 mm isn't that wide. So after some time, it's like you get in tune, you understand the lens, you understand how it works, and then it then becomes your creative voice. A 35 is a magical lens to establish a creative voice, no doubt about that. I can assure you, you may want to try the 35 focal range. It will do you a lot of good. So establishing your creative voice, as basic as a lens, yes, you can do that. The kind of lighting, how you light your subjects. Do you do it with natural light? Do you do it with just one light? 2 lights? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? The way you light your subject is able to influence your creative voice. And I can't stress this enough, light the subject the way you want the world to see it. Because, but the truth of the matter is you should know a rule to break the rule. So if you have a rule about one light system, how do you light a subject with just one light? When you know the rule to that, then you are able to tweak it to suit your needs, and then it becomes your creative voice. It could be as simple as just putting a grid to your diffuser. You grade your diffuser, you light your subject, that could be your creative voice. It's as simple as that. But then again, you have to have a sense of attachment to that creative voice. Because if you don't, you are going to stop along the way and you call it bogus, or you call it, oh, we were just playing around and that happened to be the result. So that is one way. Just tweaking with a grade on your lighting can give you a creative voice. That is very, 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 it's very basic. And so you then know that having a creative voice is not far-fetched. It's just within your environment. It's just around you. And the very core and most important thing is you should be able to have a sense of attachment to that effect, or have a sense of attachment to that cause. I like natural hair of women, and I will shoot natural hair any day because I feel it's my way of pushing African femininity out there, letting the black woman appreciate what she has as her hair. And so that becomes my creative voice through my storytelling. So that leads me to the other point. Storytelling. How are you telling a story? That can influence your creative voice. You go out there, look for the content, look out for what you do have a sense of attachment to, and then film that, shoot that. Let it be your constant voice. Let it be your constant practice that you are putting this kind of work out there. You are immersing us in the volume of work that you want people to feel like, this is what I'm out there for. These are just points that I'm just saying off head. So you may want to just look around you and find out what really can influence your creative voice. It's that important. Sometimes just switching your camera from one brand to the other I know that is very hard for most people to do in this part of the world, but for me, switching to Fujifilm changed my perspective and changed the way I see light and the way I perceived light. It's simply because of the simple electronic viewfinder. When you are adjusting the settings, you see how the light plays on the subject, and then you're able to know your source of light just through that electronic viewfinder. And that for me did a whole lot of good to me. So kudos to Fujifilm. I know the other brands are following, there are also other brands there doing their thing. So that is what I would want to say. So it could be a lens, it could be a background, it could be a kind of model, maybe slender models, maybe plus size models. That could be your creative voice. It could be that you are shooting in the mountains. It could be that you are shooting by water bodies. That becomes your creative voice. In the end, let's say if you shoot by water bodies, in the end you have a volume of work with lots of background of water, and guess what? You are talking about how to save our water bodies. That becomes mind-blowing, because then that becomes a body of work that one can have and one can show for that this is what I've been doing over the years, and this is what I feel attached to. So having a creative voice is very, very, very essential. Don't go out there looking at what everyone is doing. Look out what they are doing and see how you can do it differently. That is the only way I can encourage you to look out there. Other than that, look within yourself, look around you, and come up with something that is very different. That is you. That is unique of you. And then put it out there. And trust you me, it's going to be your voice. People will see your work without your logo, and they'll go like, that's his work, and that's his work, or that is her work. And so having a creative voice is very essential and very key to your work. However, it comes with practice over time. It comes with consistency. You can't do it 2-3 times and then you stop and you claim you have a voice. And it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of practice to master your voice, for it to just be an easy peasy thing to do. So that is all I'll have to say on creative voices. And so I hope you catch me in my next episode, and then we'll talk about another interesting topic. Thank you.